Alright, March the Machine, Premier Draft, here we go. Now, if you're new to me drafting, I do pretty heavy rare drafting because I also play a lot of the Explorer format, so I don't always rare draft, but most of the time I do. So here I just snatch up the rare. It's pretty unplayable, so we just toss that in the sideboard and look. I'm very happy to see Realmbreaker's Grasp, Pack 2. Also in consideration is Tandem Takedown, but you know, I think Realmbreaker's Grasp is probably better. And wow, look at this, a Pack 1, Pick 3 Invasion of Gobakhan. It's making waves in Constructed, but it seems like it's pretty good in Draft also, so very happy to see sort of like an on-color rare being passed to me to match the Realmbreaker's Grasp. Invasion of Regatha seems pretty good. I've never played it. Scroll Shift, I've seen other people use it. It's not my kind of card. So this is actually my 7th draft of the format, so I'm like getting a feel for it at this point, but you know, definitely not an expert. Still having to read a lot of cards. But Volcanic Sprite, I know red's considered underpowered, but you know, it seemed like the best card in that pack. Now I love Kroxa. It's, you know, it's definitely good in draft if you can escape it. Tempted by it, end up just grabbing it. Now there are the packs in this set are sort of wonky, so I won't rare draft cards that are like not Explorer legal. There's a number of them that are like historic legal. I tend to leave those rares behind and focus on the ones I can play in Explorer. But this one seems like this pack seems like a pretty easy collective nightmare. Pretty strong removal. The Convoke is super nice on there. I've already picked up my whole set of Yargle and Multani, so I'm not going to rare draft it here. If there was like obviously nothing good, then I would grab it, but it seems like there's something here that could make our deck stronger. I'm tempted by the blue-white land. Multicolor piles are definitely a thing in this format. Oracle of Tragedy just seems like a really solid card, and blue-black's like a strong strategy anyway, so we're not settled into any color by any stretch. Checking out Agar, the Freezing Fight move. We do have Volcanic Sprite already to sort of synergize with it. I feel like most of the red's removal spells are too lame to really go off with Agar. In retrospect, I think I maybe should just grab the blue-green land, but I grab Agar in that instance. Looking at the cards, failed conversion, like it's fine, it's passable. There is an argument for like the blue-red land, but go ahead and pick up that. And not unhappy with this pack. Go ahead and grab Sunder the Gateway. I've been reasonably pleased with that. It's like a 2-mana creature or like a disenchant, depending on the situation. Though, to be noted, the disenchant doesn't work on tokens, so it doesn't affect all the sort of incubate shenanigans going on. A really late Etched Host Doombringer, a card I've not yet played, but it could be a role player in this deck. And then a Tenured Oilcaster. So it seems like black is flowing. Like these last few cards have not been special, and we get the rare anyway, so we'll take those gems. And then this is just glorious right here. Invasion of Tolvada. So I've not even seen this card before, so you see me reading it here. And yeah, I mean, it's a 5-mana reanimation and then turns into like an incredible closer, you know, just sort of like an inevitability machine at the end. So when we get past Rampaging Raptor, I already know that card's good. It doesn't seem like we're not 100% committed to black. Like at this point, we could be like red-white, splashing black for the Tolvada invasion. But go ahead and just grab the rare Raptor anyway. Checking out the creature count, just sort of seeing how things are doing. Once again, considering the battle, but I feel desperate for 2-mana creatures at this point, and like already fairly certain we're going to play white. Vanquish the Meek is nice. Same with Invasion of Olgratha, but just go ahead and grab the rare, you know, trying to get the set completion. let's see. Now trying to figure out what to pick here. I end up going for the Dune Shaper. It's overperformed for me. I feel like it's better than it looks, and you know, just keep pulling us deeper into white. A lot of these other cards I'm just not as enthusiastic about. Go ahead and grab Mirrodin Avenged. That's not my favorite style of card, but it can do some work. And at this point, you know, we have a really strong white rare, really strong black-white rare, and the red cards are just, anyway, just go ahead and presume that I'm going to be cutting them. You know, it might be a little too early, but it seems like we're going in that direction. Looking at the cards in this pack, honestly, probably not playing any of them. Just grab the Saga. I have been pleased with that Saga. That's like a, not Saga, sorry, Battle. Have been pleased with like the back half of that one. So interesting, we have a choice between, you know, another Sunder the Gateway or the two, you know, 3-mana 2/2 flyers in white. Sky Warden or Seraph New Capenna. The land is also in contention. I end up grabbing Sky Warden here to go with the Phyrexian Censor. It sort of pushes Phyrexian Tribal. But then we see Seraph New Capenna anyway in the next pack, so sort of get the hedge and take both. Sunder the Gateway, I mean, it's a 2-mana 2/2 at its floor. I've played many of those. I'll keep playing those. So grab that and keep moving. And just nothing really noteworthy in this pack right here. We're fairly settled into our archetype. It's going to take something pretty notable to like make us want to splash. And then, wow, look at this, a pick 12 Vanquish the Meek. So you could see me celebrating, you know. It's pretty punishing to rare draft really heavily. Like you end up lacking removal in most drafts. So getting that really late Vanquish the Weak is really helpful. So things are just looking great so far. All right, so looking here, I mean, just gonna grab the rare. You know, I don't have a whole set yet. Looking at Gift of Completion, I haven't gotten to do this like super incubate deck yet, so I'm hoping to try that at some point. I also haven't tried the Knights deck, but Invasion of Dominaria is like a really cool card. Probably would take that, but I'm just gonna grab the rare, and then look what we get past. You could see me celebrating there. A second Invasion of Tolvada, so that changes the complexion of the deck here. I had sort of an aggro deck with two of those. I very much want one of the basic land, or sorry, the basic land type cycling cards. So either the black one that has Menace or the white one that has like an O-ring effect. So because those, you know, get you lands and then put themselves in the graveyard. They're just excellent targets to both enable and get you the lands for Invasion of Tolvada. So those are on my radar. Phyrexian Gargantuan is a good target. It's not easy to get into your graveyard unless you happen to mill it. So looking at the different cards, end up picking the 2-drop just to keep the curve low. Like you see, we have a glut of 3-mana cards. Checking. I was checking the creature count there because the trick is pretty good. The Alabaster Host Sanctifier is really nice, and it's a Phyrexian. End up getting the Realm Breaker's Grasp just as like a little bit of action, and here we go. This is exactly what I was talking about. Would probably play Knight of the New Coalition, but Gloomfang Mauler is exactly what we want with double Invasion of Tolvada. So we happily snatch that up. And then we see, you know, we have sort of another sub-theme emerging is like a Phyrexian tribal thing. So we pick up our third Phyrexian Censor. So we have to pay very close attention to the Phyrexian type. So I was originally just going to grab the black-white land, but then I see there's a second Gloomfang Mauler, and that it becomes so powerful, like I said, with the 2 reanimation spells. So it sucks to miss out on the black-white land, but we got to take the second Gloomfang. You know, at this point in the draft, there's only so many cards left we're picking up, so we were sort of bailed out, like on our reanimation plan, like right at the end. Like we picked up the enablers, or like the reanimation targets right as the draft is ending. So, and 2 I think is about like the perfect amount. Maybe we'd play like a third sort of expensive land cycler, but two is like really great. Now it feels like we're doing something nice. And then just a few straggler cards. Mirrored End of Edge, you know, we might actually play one. I feel like definitely not playing the second one. So like I mentioned earlier, this is my 7th draft. It's just this one seemed to have like a very just be very interesting since we ended it like on sort of a reanimation theme. So here's the final build. Cut down some of the top end spells to make it work, and we're off to the races. So we snap off this hand. Got a 2 and a 3, and then look at that. Wow, Invasion of Tovada off the top. I'm very excited because we have the cycler. We may just naturally draw enough lands anyway, but now the Gloomfang is going to guarantee us our 5th land anyway. Let's see what the opponent does. Alright, so they have the 2/2 flyer, and they just attack in. The life linker is going to be a problem, so we happily accept this trade right here. They have ways to get it back, of course, so... And we'll play a 2/2 flyer to match theirs. So, sort of just mirroring each other at the moment. They attack in. Honestly, the Seraph is not doing anything, so we happily block. And they're less likely to get like great value off the flitting gorilla. So, let's see if they even decide to put anything up there. And yeah, they opt out of it. And then Horobi Death's Whale appears. So that's an interesting one from the original Kamigawa block. It makes it so whenever any creature is targeted by a spell or ability from any source, it just, you know, they destroy the creature. So I'm bracing for impact here. You know, basically all their pump spells, if they built around Horobi, are now kill spells. So little worried about that, and it's a 4/4 flyer that's just going to kill us really quickly. So Vanquish the Weak, not going to do the job against the 4-power Horobi. But we were able to do the whole Gloomfang cycle into Invasion. Game 1 right off the bat, here we go. And I almost make a critical mistake here. Thankfully, Arena warns me. So I was about to drop the counters on my own creature, which Horobi would have then killed. Here's where I learned you can actually back up an opposing creature. So I end up dropping the counters on Horobi, which dies to its own trigger. And we chip a little bit off our invasion, and we're feeling pretty great. Opponent follows up with Phyrexian Gargantua, refills their hand. Decide to use the Edge Toast Doombringer to shed the last counters on that. It's just more damage efficient to send the 5/5 menace at them instead of the battle. So now we get to see the broken sky. We'll see how broken it actually is. Alright, so they play a Thallid, and they go ahead and flip it. And it just, you know, the opponent's doing stuff, but we have enough to wall them off while we can just beat them down with our flyers, which are just going to keep multiplying. So, not only that, but we actually have 7 mana and the second Gloomfang to just drop some counters on our flyer and really just increase the clock. So now we have a 4-power lifelink flyer, and it's just going to put the game out of reach. We're sitting pretty with the removal spell in our hand also in case they try and drop a flyer against us. So they have a nice little wombo combo here. Scroll Shift the Gargantua to draw 3 cards. 1 off the Scroll Shift, 2 off Gargantua. But, you know, there are many ground creatures that are just doing nothing right here. Now, I do some brief number crunching. With our menace creatures on the ground, flyers in the air, realize that the opponent's just dead. So they go through the blocks anyway. So I speed up the playthrough right here. And that's game 1. On to the next one. Not as beautiful a hand as game 1, but serviceable, and just gotta pray we draw some black mana. At least we got another early play, but still no black mana in sight. Okay, Thrashing Frontliner is tricky. So I have a choice here. I sort of quickly run out the 2/2. Maybe should have played the 3-power creature in case like they play a battle and are able to increase the Frontliner's power. So turns out worse for us because they play Grafted Butcher, which is a Phyrexian Lord, So we're able to not block there. So now sort of sheepishly play the Cavalier, like, dang it, that would have been nice last turn to threaten a trade. But then the ultimate blowout, Invasion of Regatha to mow it down, and then they can send the frontliner at it to not completely flip it, but we would love to be doing some blocking here, but they're just making it impossible for us. Also doesn't help we're not finding any black mana. If we'd drawn a swamp there, would have slammed Vanquish the Weak on their frontliner. Would have felt a lot better, but now we feel pretty compelled to make this block because they're going to get an extra creature, and yeah, they blow us out. So I switch over to triple speed because we hang in there, but we are just super dead. And that's how it goes sometimes. So we move on to the next one. Similar hand as the last one. Snatch, snap the keep. We do have Gloomfang, so we got a swamp locked in, and it's gonna play into the Invasion of Tovada really nice. So opponent makes some elementals, and notice right here, did you see the hesitation from the opponent? So they have a Convoke spell that works with the red-blue creatures that's 2 mana or less. And I wasn't super familiar with the format, so I was like, what? I knew they had something, but I didn't know what they had. Now I know it's the red spell that can, 2 mana Convoke, and it gives 2 creatures +2/+0. So if I was more familiar with the format, I would have had that read like immediately. So at this point in the past, I knew they had something, I didn't know what they had. Now, Kenra's Spell Spear is just a vicious card. It, on its front side, is already really good. Like, if you would have shown that to like a limited player like 5 or 10 years ago, the front side would have blown their mind. But it actually flips over to something even more gnarly. A 3/3 trample, ward 2, with 2 instances of prowess. And so, yeah, I'm definitely not blocking that because prowess is just really dangerous. And here comes Burning Sun's Fury, the Convoke card that we're able to sniff out earlier, but we take a massive chunk of damage, and they just trade off one of their tokens for our 3 mana creature. So and you notice I didn't fire off Vanquish the Weak because the spellcaster is ward 2, so I couldn't even do that. So I was basically forced into just playing Invasion of Gobakhan. I mean, I was able to tax their vehicle, but then, oh goodness, a second spellcaster. So they're able to just play it, flip it, and now we have 2 insane creatures. Like, it feels like we're just dead here. Now we do have like this amazing whammy right here, Invasion of Tovada. So we're putting it to like, how good is this card? Basically, we're about to die. How good is this? So we can get the Gloomfang back. We're gonna have to just put its counters on itself. Now, fortunately, it's going to be really hard for their spell stalkers to like outgrow our Gloomfang. Now, opponent has an interesting decision here. They do hesitate on it for a while. You can see like they're thinking about attacking. They're strongly considering, and I think I think they definitely should attack me here because it puts me down to 1 life, and there has to be so many ways for them to kill me from there, but they decide not to attack. They're so worried about trading off one of them. I think they really should have attacked right there, put me to the test. And however, they decide not to do it. So decide to take this turn back. We got to get rid of those spell stalkers. So it takes up our whole turn, but we're able, fortunately, to kill one of them. And now we just got to sort of YOLO. Like, they do have the Dread Ship incoming. And so I'm thinking about the attack here because, they're close to killing us, but I feel like I have to attack the Invasion of Tovada because either they block and lose both their creatures, or they don't block, and all of a sudden we get an enchantment that starts spitting out lifelink flyers. And so, mission accomplished. A removal spell could still spell the end for us right here, with the vehicle and, but they don't have it. So they do have Zerda, which does have an activated ability to make creatures not block. Plus they had that, that token waiting in the wings. So they go ahead and suit everything up and send in the attackers. And fortunately, it's not quite enough, especially with lifelink. You know, even without lifelink, it wouldn't have done it. But we happily trade with their vehicle, and let's see if we can stabilize here. Now, it doesn't feel right to attack Invasion of Gobakhan. That's sort of like a while you're ahead kind of card. It puts counters on your creatures that attacked that turn, so we're playing from behind right now. That doesn't do anything. Now, opponent, I think this is an ill-advised attack here. Maybe they're feeling desperate. They really should have done this earlier, but anyway, they attack everything. We make a bunch of favorable trades for us, and that's it. So that one really seemed like it was out of reach, but somehow we clinched it. So that was really interesting. It shows you the power of that invasion of whatever that place is called. The black-white battle. So turn 2, play a 3-1. Let's see what they can do. And once again, they can pick it off with Invasion of Regatta. So I may have to reevaluate the Cavaliers, because I just keep getting whammied by that battle. Maybe they're still worth it anyway. I'm not shy about playing 2-mana 3-1s and just aggroing people out, so we'll see about it. But opponent appears to be like on the battle plan, because they played a battle and they played a creature that cares about battles. In fact, it doubles its power when it attacks battles, so we don't want them to start flipping all these, getting free creatures. So it seems like a good Realm Breaker target. Just lock it down and prevent them from just flipping a bunch of battles on us. Alright, and another battle from them. So it really does seem like they're battle tribal, so like they're Jund colors. They play an Edict battle. We have to sacrifice a 3-1. Now, fortunately, it seems like they didn't have enough, or they're just not drawing any of their creatures, because they have these battles and they've gotten like a little value from them, but now they just sit there and they're not turning into creatures. Now we're able to slam our Doombringer and drain them for a little bit. It feels pretty good, like we're stabilizing a little bit. All right, they played the Oilcaster. I do a quick graveyard check and realize they're not anywhere near surprise milling us and boosting its power to blow out or vanquish the weak. So we just snipe it and we sense Blood in the Water and just try and get them. So go ahead and play a 2/2 just to try and seal the deal right here. End up holding the Lamb. If we draw the 7-mana creature, it's not casting next turn anyway. Another land is not what we wanted to see. Same with an Incubate token sitting over there. They play another Slasher, and they hold up activation. So Invasion of Gobakhan is interesting. At the very least, we could sort of like duress them. So, and we managed to vanquish the Meek while they're like 1 mana short. So that was huge. At least as far as like tying up their mana, making it inefficient for them. Go ahead and initiate the attack. Opponent could have, transformed, double blocked, but they'd opt just to take the damage. I think wisely. So now they able to vanquish the weak, and now we have an unchecked War Train Slasher that's just gonna start flipping battles for them like crazy. So after feeling so good, things are starting to spiral out of control for us, and then another land off the top. So I'm just feeling desperate right here. Like we're so close to killing them. Like if we find an invasion of the black-white invasion, we can reanimate the Doombringer and then just drain them for 2, right? So like that will win it. There's a number of things that could win it. And you'll notice that the gameplay sounds have gone silent. The audio got really warped during this portion, so unfortunately we had to deal with this eerie silence. Nothing to accompany the narration. But opponent just is flipping battles like crazy. Like they're really close to closing it out. And what do we draw? Angelic Intervention. So it's living up to its namesake. We're able to give our creature pro red. I'm just like getting 100% sure they're both red creatures. And it makes it so their creatures can't block it. So I'm able to send in the final damage. Let's not attack Invasion of Gobakhan and let's just win. So that was very fortunate, and we're on to the next game. 2 games in a row where it really felt like we were about to lose and we're able to turn it around. So we take any and all those and move on. So turn 1 play and pass. Turn 2 looks like a Gloomfang cycle. Looks like opponent's on blue-black. I think many consider that to be the strongest color combination in this format. Opponent plays a very early unsealed Necropolis. It feels like a desperation play because they didn't really have anything in their graveyard, so they're counting on milling something to pull it back. So they didn't even get the full value, but they did get an early play at least. Okay. Alright, so we play our Phyrexian Censor, hoping that'll be worse for them than it is for us, because we're not the most Phyrexian dense deck, and it does help right here. It puts their 3/3 Menace into play tapped, so we're going to at least get to smack them again. I'm just checking out what it transforms into. Like I said, I'm still learning a lot of the cards in the set. Already familiar with Invasion of Amonkhet. I keep losing to that card. It's very good, so happy to see it in their graveyard, and hope they don't have a way to get it back. Slam in with the creatures, and decide just to play a flyer and just keep the assault going. Land from the opponent. Failed conversion. Okay, so they want to get rid of the Phyrexian. It's making all their creatures come to play untapped. And they end up just dumping some more stuff in their graveyard. So opponent has tons of recursion over there. Now we're able to just use the drain mode on Doombringer right here. Chip in for some damage. You have to click the opponent, attack in. So opponent falls to 10, and we're really hoping. We really like that we have Realmbreaker's Grasp still, for something nasty. Our flyer is unchecked thus far. So opponent plays Umori. I really love Ikoria, so I'm always happy to see those cards show up, and they're able to play their Agent for 1 mana. So that basically gums up the ground sufficiently for them, and yeah, they send it with the Menace creature. So they have a 4/5 and a 1/1 Death Touch. So I spend a minute here just thinking, all right, what if I flip the Dune Shaper to the 4/3 Trample? But Realmbreaker's Grasp on either of those creatures, just if we grasp the Umori, then the Death Toucher just trades. So it just doesn't seem good. So I end up just sending out the flyer and just hoping that'll eventually get there. And then opting for the sort of more mana efficient play of flipping the Dune into the Dune Stomper and then playing another 2/2. So trying to sort of go wider than they can handle. All right, and so opponent plays Hidetsugu and Kairi, I think. Kairi, I don't know how to pronounce that. But it's a 5/4 flyer, which is a problem for us, and they're gumming up the ground even more. Fortunate that we didn't spew off the Realmbreaker's Grasp. We sort of saved it, and this is the situation we want to save it for. But then we draw an even better play. Gloomfang Mauler, which we have enough mana to play, and that can give it Menace. So we just dump the counters on it. We're able to fly past their flyer unchecked and basically put them to the test. Can they deal with our flyer right now? So opponent plays a land, and they just have a Gloomfang Mauler of their own, so they can't deal with it. They only have 1 flying blocker, so opponent's just dead. I go ahead and toss out the Realmbreaker's Grasp for good measure and just clearing quests, just to be thorough. But yeah, our flyer is going to get through for the win. On to the next one. This hand is not super optimal. We would love to have a 2-mana play, but we'll have to see where it goes. And then we see a red land from the opponent, and then the cursed Kenra Spell Spear. So it turns out we actually do have a 2-mana play. We're definitely going to Realmbreaker's Grasp that creature. We've seen how nasty that thing can get in a hurry. Just a really powerful creature. And yeah, okay, so they play Alabaster Host Sanctifier, fortunate that we have like a suitable blocker for that. We play our Phyrexian Sensor, once again hoping it impacts our opponent more negatively than us. Unfortunately, it does not. They go ahead and play a Phyrexian, which is actually really strong here. And they go ahead and transform it just to make sure they lock in that extra counter from the Norn's Inquisitor ability. So, not feeling amazing. It's not the end of the world, but you could see right here it's negatively impacting us. It would be really nice to have an extra 2/2 creature right now. So opponent puts the counter, sends him with the 3/3s, and yeah, decide just to try and get rid of the life linker. Not feeling great though, because there's still an unchecked 3/3 and we've only drawn lands. Yeah, just basically anything here would have been nice. So we could fortunately sink the mana to grow our creature a little bit, but it just turns into a 3/3. Like if it was like a 3/4, then we'd be feeling pretty nice. But as it stands, it's looking grim already for us. Invasion of Dominaria is not great. They get to draw a card and potentially essentially get a Serra Angel. Opt not to attack that turn, and Gloomflame Mauler the second. In some matchups would be amazing, but right now, desperate for its 6 mana play, it's not great. So opponent plays Invasion of Kaldheim. New to me, but they basically get to sort of draw some cards off it. They exile their hand and then draw a couple. And we see the dragon up there, and that's like, ugh, another creature that's bigger than our flyer. What do they have? And Realm Breaker's Grasp on our flyer. So were it not for that, we'd be feeling all right. So I go ahead and accelerate the game, and here this is where the sound normalizes, it comes back, but opponent gets their angel, and we fight the good fight, but we just can't deal with all their flyers. So now they smack us for 8 in the air. Don't even have to worry about flipping any more battles, and I'm trying to think if there's anything I can do. I decide, okay, I could play this, play that, and hope they sort of make a mistake or can't close, but I'm not quite sure what I'm hoping for, but I take the damage and yeah, try and do this to see if that like can trick them into not attacking. I'm hopeful to try and flip it right here. Basically, I'm trying to make my opponent make a mistake, and they definitely don't. So we're on to the next game, and we picked up another loss. So turn 1 Dune Shaper here feels good. Invasion of Gobakhan is really good in the early game, and then hello, turn 2 3/1. It's much better to lead with your creature. So attacking in here, and yeah, happily play the 3/1 and move Invasion of Gobakhan to turn 3. So opponent plays Invasion of Ixalan. We're gonna get to like draw a card, and they get the Wary Thespian. So this feels amazing right here. So Invasion of Gobakhan, like constructed power level card, and we see their Thespian, 5 mana play, 4 mana play, fight spell, 6 mana removal spell. Yeah, grab the creature, and it's looking ugly for them already, because we're gonna flip Invasion of Gobakhan right now. Shout out the 2 mana 3/1s, because Light Shield Array's coming in, and all of a sudden we're passing, with 6 power on board, having just snatched the early play, and that is enough. So this format can be really brutal, and that game just shows you how things can go. We were on the giving end of that, but you've seen us on the receiving end already a few times this round, so we'll see how it goes, but more games like that, please. Our opponent passes, we have a play, and yeah, things are developing pretty nicely for us. No turn 3 play from the opponent. I'm expecting like a removal spell here. And functionally removal spell. Flash creature. Alright, so they trade in. We're okay with that, because that means our 3/3 is able to rumble. So opponent missed a land drop here, and we're gonna miss a land drop as well. So I was so ready to cycle Gloomfang, play the swamp, play Sunder the Gateway, but decided it's probably better just to slam another 3/3 at this point. It gives us sort of redundancy at the coming to play tapped potential thing, and it's just a beefy creature, so it puts them in a really tough spot. So now we can make the swamp cycling play. We didn't draw a land, and this is, you know, doing two things. It's setting up the graveyard for Invasion of Tovada and getting us the swamp we need to cast it as well. So we're able to slam in for 6. I opt to pass with Angelic Intervention up just to try and prevent a removal spell, but opponent just flips, so they must be having a difficult time, because what they want to do is block one of the 3/3s and then have the sack trigger kill the other one. Unfortunately for them, it's going to go really badly for them, because we're able to place the counters and grant Menace and flip Invasion of Tovada immediately, and then I'm horrified because the Phyrexian Censor prevented me from casting a second non-Phyrexian spell. So that was a horrific mistake right there on my end. And I'm trying to shake it off here, but I'm just like, oh no. Hopefully I could, it seemed comfortably ahead such that we can win. In fact, I cut out some of the time I spent thinking about this turn. We actually do have the kill. That's why I sent in with everyone, hoping they would block in the exact way they did for the kill. So we're able to shake off that pretty bad mistake. But those kind of things can haunt you, you know, when you make like a mistake like that, especially like when it's your own card you should be playing around. So Omen Hawker from the opponent. I don't have a good feeling about how strong that card is. My instinct is that it's not good. Like, I don't know how crazy you need to be going with Incubate for it to be strong. I haven't seen any deck that would really use it yet. Maybe if you also pull like a Mythic that also has like crazy activated abilities, I don't know, but right now it's doing its job of holding off a 3/1 pretty well. I opt to not attack here, hoping to like they'll tap it or something will go on. I probably should have just attacked. Invasion of Amonkhet, the sort of bane of our existence, so we're going to have to discard something, and opponent has like a super powerful reanimation spell, just sort of, you know, waiting in the wings if they can ever flip it. Nothing good for them to bring back at the moment, but a tough discard choice here. Opt to just trash failed conversion. It's clunky, it's expensive. Our other spells seem a little more impactful, and I decided to attack now. It was possibly leaving the Invasion of Amonkhet like undefended, but you could see me like, you know, really wishing I could cast Invasion of Tovada and try and win that way. And opponent, Invasion of Eldraine. So they're just going crazy with the discard on their battles, and it is hurting us because we just can't empty our hand fast enough. So we're just hemorrhaging resources against them. Mirrodin Avenged is just, I don't like that card. Maybe I'm playing it all wrong. Maybe it shouldn't even be in this deck. I don't know. So, Grimgrin Corpseborn. I always have to read it because I never remember what it does. Seems like a good Realmbreaker's Grasp target. Could get very nasty for us otherwise. We attack in, and we're just praying for like land number 5 to get the invasion going. So opponent plays Huntmaster, Drag Recycler. Still unprotected in the air, you know, so like we could potentially get there. Finally get land 5 to flip the invasion. And we do have Gloomfang Mauler, so we're able to do our like little combo of bringing it back. Unfortunately, we're 1 damage short of flipping it right now because, man, the life linkers would be useful right away to sort of defend these battles we have. We don't want them flipping them, so now here's the nightmare scenario right here. Yorion Sky Nomad. This is just an unbelievable blowout by the opponent. So they're able to unshackle Grimgrin and get value from both their battles again. So here comes Grimgrin without the enchantment. They strip our hand away, get a little bit more milling to get that selection for Invasion Omnikit, and now we're in huge trouble. So we have Collective Nightmare, and I spend a lot of time thinking about it, but I'm like, okay, I can attack with these and then blow out one of their blocks, hoping to kill Yoron. I just didn't pay attention to Grimgrin, realizing that I had on-demand untap, and so I didn't take that into account. An opponent was able to give us 2 unfavorable blocks instead of just 1. And so you could see me agonizing over how to do this. Like, I mean, Grimgrin, when it attacks, kills one of our creatures, so I felt like, all right, I guess I just got to kill that one. But that ended up just being a, blowouts on top of the blowouts, and so you could see we moved into accelerated speed here because things just got nasty quick, and yeah, conceding at 20 life because we were dead. But a very solid run, ended up 6-3 and had some fun. So anyway, thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day.